Picture this. You're just walking to the gym with your friends, a normal evening in Athlone, Ireland. Maybe you're joking about who's gonna skip leg day again. Then, out of nowhere, a black BMW slides up beside you. Two men step out, stone faced. No warning, no reason, just tension hanging in the air thick enough to choke on. And that, my friends, was the last ordinary moment of Patryk Krupa's life. Because that walk to the gym, it was about to become a one-way trip to the River Shannon. Alright, let's roll it back a bit. Patryk Krupa, 23 years old, born in Poland, living in Athlone, this peaceful little Irish town that's split between County Roscommon and County Westmeath. He's just a normal young guy. Works, hangs out, lifts weights, tries to live that simple expat life. Nothing about him screams headline material. It's late evening in June 2014. Patryk's heading to the gym with two friends. They're on foot, no rush, no drama, maybe laughing about weekend plans. The streets half lit, quiet like any other weekday in a small Irish town. But while they're walking down Church Street, somewhere nearby, that black BMW, a 3 Series with a Dublin plate starting 060, is cruising. Unnoticed, watching, waiting. And here's the thing, nobody in that group thinks twice. Cars drive by all the time, right? Except this one doesn't just pass, it slows. Then it stops. Inside are two Polish men, both living locally, both with reputations that could chill a pub full of tough guys into silence. Their names will matter later. Right now, what matters is that they've got a grudge and Patryk's name is on it. What started as 3 lads heading to the gym is now a collision course between easy routine and calculated violence. And in about 5 minutes, Athlone's going to lose any sense of normal night. So picture this, Patryk and his 2 buddies are halfway to the gym. Nothing unusual. Then that black BMW from before, it rolls up beside them on Church Street. Door opens, 2 men step out like they own the pavement. You know that moment when someone walks up and you just feel bad energy. Yeah, that. One of the guys steps right up to Patryk's friend and without a single word head-butts him. Just full on crack. No warm-up, no argument, straight to violence. Then he tells them to, quote, F off. Classic tough guy move, right? When you run out of hit points, you start using your forehead. Now here's where things twist. Patryk doesn't run. He doesn't swing back either. Instead, he goes off down an alley with the 2 men from the BMW. His friends, they stay behind. And yeah, that's the moment everything should have stopped. But it doesn't. It's that movie moment where the camera should zoom in and the audience yells, "Don't go with them." But he does. Because in real life, you don't always see danger coming until it's too close to escape. According to reports from the Irish Times, that was the last time his friends saw him alive. They thought maybe he'd just gone to talk it out, settle whatever was going on. Except whatever that conversation was, it ended beside the River Shannon. So let's pause right here. 3 guys walking to the gym. 2 strangers in a black car. A quick fight, a short walk, and someone vanishes. And by sunrise, Athlone is about to wake up to a murder case that's straight out of a crime documentary. So after Patryk disappears down that alley with the 2 guys, his friends are just standing there, confused. No screaming, no running, just that awkward silence when you know something's off, but your brain hasn't caught up yet. Because who expects your gym night to turn into a missing person story, right? Now here's what investigators later found out. Patryk didn't just walk off. He was taken. He ended up inside that black BMW, sitting in the back seat while those 2 men drove him out of town. One of his friends, a guy named Kuba Zimuda, later told the guards what really went down in that car. And man, it's rough. Kuba said Patryk was pleading, saying, I pay. Whatever the beef was, probably about money, he was trying to fix it. But they weren't listening. They were hitting him hard. It wasn't a scuffle anymore, it was a full-on beating. And while the car moved towards a spot under the Athlone bypass near a quiet bend in the River Shannon called Boggafin, Patryk was already barely conscious. Now, this is where the story gets cold. The men drag Patryk out of the car. There's gravel underfoot, water close by, no witnesses, no lights, just them and the sound of the river moving. According to the trial reports, he was still alive but completely out of it when they pushed him into the water, face down. And that's how he died. Not from the beating itself, but from drowning in the Shannon. The next morning, his body was found floating near the bank. And that's when the whole quiet town of Athlone flipped. Because this wasn't a gang shootout in Dublin or some crime movie from abroad, this was right in their backyard. A regular young guy walking to the gym, dead in a river. And the craziest part? His killers didn't even try to hide. They drove off, ditched the BMW near Cornamari, and just went home. Like nothing happened. The guards found the car not long after. Traces of blood inside. Patryk's DNA. Everything matching the story the witness gave. It wasn't random. It wasn't a mistake. It was personal. And now the hunt was on. So the morning after, Athlone wakes up to something straight out of a nightmare. Someone spots a body in the river. It's Patryk, face down, caught near the bank of the Shannon. The gym bag's gone, but his injuries tell the story. Now, this isn't the kind of place where stuff like that happens. Athlone's usually about quiet pubs and small talk, not homicide scenes. So the guards step in, quick scene sealed, water search done, car tracks checked. And right away, they've got a big lead, that black BMW. The same car spotted the night before, found abandoned at Cornamari on the edge of town. Inside, blood stains, bits of gravel, a torn watch strap. The forensics lab confirms it, the blood belongs to Patryk Krupa. Then CCTV comes into play. Footage shows the BMW cruising through town that night, matching the timeline perfectly. Two men inside, faces blurred but clear enough for the guards to start connecting dots. They weren't strangers to the area either. Locals had seen them before, working odd jobs, drinking in the same bars. It wasn't some outsider hit. This was local. DNA from Patryk shows up on one of the men's socks and even his wristwatch. That detail alone sealed the deal. Like, you can talk your way out of rumors, but not out of forensics. And then comes the witness. Cuba Zimura, the guy who'd been in the car too, finally breaks. He tells investigators everything. The car ride, the beating, the river, the words, "I pay." It's brutal, but it's the missing piece they need. So within days, the guards have their suspects, two Polish men living in Athlone. Leszek Siculek and Andrzej Gruchaks, both in their 30s, both known around town. And here's a wild twist, one of them was actually a trained cage fighter. Yeah, let that sink in. You put a cage fighter and a grudge in the same car, and suddenly Athlone's gym night looks more like a fight club nobody signed up for. By now, the guards have enough evidence to charge them both with murder. And when the trial finally hits the Central Criminal Court in Dublin 2 years later, the story that unfolds shocks the whole country. So fast forward 2 years later. The courthouse in Dublin is packed. Reporters, families, locals from Athlone, everyone's waiting to see how this ends. Because this isn't some mystery anymore. The evidence is stacked, the story's ugly, and the names are finally out there. Leszek Siculek, Andrzej Gruchaks, both Polish nationals, both living in Athlone, both accused of the murder of 23-year-old Patryk Krupa. Now, during the trial, the jury hears everything. The beating in the car, the trip to the riverbank, the drowning, and the witnesses describing how Patryk was still breathing when they threw him into the water. That last part hits hard, because it changes the tone from fight gone wrong to they knew exactly what they were doing. One of the men even tried to claim he didn't mean to kill him, that it was all just chaos, but the jury didn't buy it. You don't accidentally drive someone to a river, assault them, and leave them face down in the water. That's not an accident, that's intent. The prosecution presents the forensic goldmine. Patryk's blood on Siculek's clothes, DNA on the watch, CCTV matching every move, phone records syncing perfectly with the time of death. It's the kind of case where you don't need a detective montage, the facts tell it themselves. After days of testimony, cross examinations, and enough legal drama to fill a Netflix series, the jury comes back guilty. Both men convicted of murder. The judge doesn't waste words. He calls the attack vicious, prolonged, and inhumane, then hands them the only sentence that fits life imprisonment. And just like that, it's over. Two men behind bars, a young man dead, a town scarred, and everyone still asking the same quiet question why? Because the motive, even after all this, still feels thin. Some said it was about money a small debt Patryk supposedly owed. Others said it was ego, pride, control. But whatever it wasn't worth a life. The courtroom empties, cameras flash, and the story of the Athlone Canal homicide is finally written in ink. Two killers convicted, one life stolen, and a whole community shaken awake. So let's unpack this for a second because this wasn't just a random attack. This was teamwork. Except, the absolute worst kind. Patryk didn't face one person, he faced two. And that changes everything. One on one, there's at least a chance someone backs down. Two on one, that's domination, that's a pack mentality. And when people act in a group, especially violent ones, something dark switches on. Psychologists call it diffusion of responsibility. Basically, when there's more than one bad guy, everyone convinces themselves they're not the bad guy. Oh, I just drove. Oh, I just hit him once. Oh, I didn't mean for it to go that far. Yeah, right. That's exactly what happened in this case. You can almost hear it, one of them playing the leader, the other tagging along, trying to prove something. It's ego fuel. Add in anger, maybe a little bit of that, and boom, it's no longer a disagreement, it's a mission. Patryk's friends later told investigators he'd mentioned owing money to one of them. Not much. Nothing life-changing. But to men already wired for violence, that tiny debt turned into an excuse to play executioner. And here's the detail that really sticks. They didn't take him somewhere random. They drove him under the bypass, that quiet, out-of-the-way spot by the Shannon where the noise from the road covers everything. It's not just isolated, it's controlled. They knew exactly where to go and what they were going to do once they got there. You can almost see it, one driving, one talking, one scared kid in the back seat, realizing too late that this chat wasn't ending peacefully. And the scary part, neither of those men ever showed an ounce of remorse in court. No breakdown, no apology, no tears. Just that cold, flat stare, the kind you see in people who've already justified everything to themselves. It's wild, isn't it? Two men together can create a level of cruelty one man alone might never reach. Because in their minds, they weren't monsters. They were a team. And that's what makes this story so much darker. What really makes this story hit harder than most is how normal it all started. There's no secret affair, no hidden criminal empire, no Hollywood twists. Just three lads walking to the gym in a small Irish town. That's what makes it so unnerving, it's ordinary life turning sideways. One moment you're joking with your friends, talking about protein shakes and weekend plans. Next moment you're staring at a car pulling up and everything you thought was safe goes out the window. And let's be real, Ireland isn't used to this kind of brutality, especially not in places like Athlone. It's not Dublin city nightlife, it's not some rough housing estate. It's a riverside town where people know each other by first name, where the worst thing that usually happens is someone losing their phone after a few pints. So when the news broke that a 23-year-old had been beaten and left to drown by two men he actually knew, it froze people. It wasn't random. It was betrayal. That's the real horror here. He trusted them enough to walk away with them. People started replaying it in their heads. Could he have run? Could his friends have stopped it? Could anyone have saved him before the river did? It's one of those cases that makes everyone rethink the idea of small town safety. Because this didn't happen in some dark alley in a big city, it happened in plain sight in a place where everyone assumed nothing bad ever happens. And here's the part that really stays with you. If you strip away the headlines and the courtroom drama, what's left is just a young guy trying to fix a mistake and two men who decided his life wasn't worth much. It's simple, it's senseless, and that's exactly why it's unforgettable. The River Shannon kept its secret for one night, just one before giving him back. But the town of Athlone, it's never really been the same since. So here's how it ends. Patryk Krupa, 23, Polish born, trying to make a simple life in Ireland, never made it to the gym that night. Two men he probably thought were just going to talk things out ended his life beside a river that's seen more peace than violence. The courts did their job. The killers got life. Justice, at least on paper, was served. But justice doesn't bring someone back. And Athlone, it still remembers. Because this wasn't a case about gang wars or big money, it was about a few bad decisions that spiraled into a nightmare. The black BMW, the alley, the river, all still there. Just part of the town again. People drive over that same bypass every day, maybe without even realizing they're passing over the spot where it all ended. And that's the thing, right? It's easy to tell yourself you'd never end up in that kind of situation, that you'd walk away, that you'd see the danger coming. But life doesn't always give you that warning. Patrick's friends thought they were heading to a workout. The two men in the car thought they were teaching someone a lesson. Only one side walked away. So next time you're out late and you hear a car slow down beside you even for a second, just remember this story. Because some rides don't take you home. They take you somewhere you can't come back from. And that's how a quiet night in Athlone turned into one of Ireland's most haunting murder cases. All from a walk to the gym. All from a black BMW that didn't just stop, it ended a life.